Hello, wonderful young farming champions and the broader Pichu and agriculture community. I would like to begin our interview this afternoon by acknowledging the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognising their continuing connection to land, water and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce our guest, Amelia Berner. Amelia is the Food, Education and Sustainability Training Program National Manager at OzHarvest, Australia's leading food rescue organisation. Amelia's passion for nutrition and environmental education stems from a decade of experience as a food technology teacher and working as a practicing nutritionist. This wealth of experience has enabled her to develop the Feast Education Program, which combines nutrition, food waste and sustainability in a curriculum-ready program for Australian schools. Amelia believes education and access to healthy food choices brings a connection to our community and affects the short and long-term health and contributes to the sustainability of our future. So without further ado, Amelia, I would love you to share a bit about why the Feast program is different to any other cooking, healthy eating or sustainability program.
Okay, thanks so much for having me here today, Meg. It's really great to be here and to talk to you about what OzHarvest does and about our lovely Feast program. So Feast stands for Food, Education and Sustainability Training. It's a Year 5 and 6 curriculum-aligned education program that is really about educating kids about healthy eating, food waste awareness and sustainability. It's a unique program for a number of reasons, but really firstly connecting to OzHarvest, and our main, aim is to nourish our country and looking at the gap in education programs that educate students holistically about that healthy eating, food waste prevention and sustainability is interconnected and pressing issues. So just a few facts and stats to get us started. In Australia, over 7.3 million tonnes of food ends up in landfill each year. So that's costing the Australian economy $20 billion a year. And the idea of where that food waste comes from, 1/3 of this food waste comes from the home. So just to think about the average family, 1 bag of shopping just goes into the bin, is wasted out of 5 each week. So there's a huge amount of food waste that is occurring in our homes. So the lessons that we give students on food waste in the classroom will help them to make big differences at the home, in their communities, and just within looking after our environment from that side of things.
Yeah. And absolutely.
So the other element, that makes Feast really unique is that the Feast team is a team of educators. So from that, we understand that in order to implement any school-based program, you need to make it as easy for possible as teachers. So as you were saying before, I was teaching for 10 years before working at OzHarvest, and I understand teachers have a lot on their plates. So for them to take on any new program, particularly a logistically challenging one, where Feast is cooking in the classroom, and that idea of it's a STEM curriculum-aligned program, it's important that we make it as easy as possible for teachers, and they see the real benefit for their students to undertake the program. Yeah, so firstly, Feast can be implemented in any classroom. So with that idea, it's a curriculum-aligned program where we provide an online portal for teachers, and with that we provide all of the resources for teachers, the units of work, lesson plans, student activities, optional learning experiences, and because it's cooking, we provide a practical guide for cooking as well as the recipes for the students to cook within that class period time. But getting kids immersed in hands-on cooking activities is also really important. So we've got kitchen kits with no kitchen required. So you could do it in any classroom. We have schools that cook in a school hall, and we provide electric frying pans and some really great, delicious, healthy, sustainable recipes. But lastly, that idea of the face-to-face and the online teacher training that we provide for teachers, so they feel confident to go into the classrooms and deliver. And in New South Wales, that's a NESA accredited government teacher training program. So it helps them implement the program with ease. But also teachers can pick and choose what they want to deliver from that program. So we understand all schools are unique. We have some schools that are in remote Australia with 6 students, and we have, some schools, for example, in the inner west of Sydney that have 250 students in the year group. So they need to be able to adapt and change the program to meet their needs. And lastly, what makes it unique is that it integrates with other programs like Picture You in Agriculture's Creative Koala program or School Gardens. It complements those programs, the Feast program.
As you mentioned there, Picture in Agriculture does also have the Creative Koalas program, and you identified that we do have a number of synergies there. So could you expand a bit on how Creative Koalas and Feast can work together to support such an important message?
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, there are so many. I think Creative Koalas and Feast really complement each other, they're complementary programs. So, similar to the Creative Koala program, Feast teaches students about global issues that are impacting our world right now and in the future. So, what I believe is both programs understand the importance of encouraging community engagement. So, with Feast, you can imagine 30 kids cooking in a classroom environment. It's about engaging our volunteers, parents, and community members to assist teachers in that cooking environment. But it provides an opportunity for our students to also voice and take action on issues that are relevant and meaningful within their communities. So the kids at the end of the Feast program produce a school cookbook launch where they educate the community on, food waste avoidance recipes and healthy eating. But yeah, I think both programs provide great support to teachers within the school. And I think as well, Feast recognises the importance of implementing the sustainability development goals into practice. So the Feast program has been recognised by the United Nations Global Compact Network Australia as a program addressing 7 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, with that key focus on zero hunger, responsible consumption and production, quality education, good health and well-being, and the list goes on. So,
and can you touch on, Amelia, why it's so crucial to be teaching the younger generation within our community about the importance of food and food production?
Yeah, definitely. So as I discussed before, the huge issue of food waste in Australia, with over 7.3 million tonnes of food ending up in landfill each year. So while this is happening, while this good food is going to waste, the other side of OzHarvest, as we rescue that food that goes to waste, it's also delivering that food to people in need. So especially within that school environment. So there's a number of vulnerable community members across Australia that are going without food. So within Australia, 5 million Australians experience food insecurity each year. So that's 1 in 4 children. So the way we do our school presentations, we talk to the children about 1 child in every classroom goes to bed or school hungry. And so, yeah, I think it's crucial to teach our youngsters about the importance of food from that side of things, but also, yeah, we're seeing a real disconnect in our school communities, with many children not knowing where their food comes from. So one student participating in our Feast program at one school, when we do our cooking component, we get them to cook some really healthy, nutritious recipes, and we ask them about where their food comes from as well, so they can see the connection. And from that side, one kid thought that bread came from a bread tree. So it was really, and some kids couldn't identify certain fruits and vegetables, such as celery or beetroot. And we have also seen kids who have never tried certain foods before that are just really common fruits and vegetables. I had a kid last week at one of our schools who had never had a tomato before, and these are 12-year-olds.
Wow.
So there's that disconnect from that side of things. But I think it's also really important to teach kids about all of the steps to, to get the food to their plates from that side, all the resources that go into producing their food, from, the water to the land to the farmers' love and care and time that they've put into producing that food. Because if you can't even understand where your bread comes from and all of the resources to get to that stage, then I think that idea is no wonder a lot of food is being wasted, because there's that disconnect. So with the feast program, it's about teaching students where their food comes from, about the issues of food waste. We also have a section in our program called Change Makers, and it's talking about, who change makers in the community are, and, what they have done to address, say, for example, our CEO and founder, Ronnie, to address food waste and create a change from an idea, from that sort of thing. And so, yeah, I think it's very crucial to teach our kids about why food is important, because as I go through those stats, we can see that we need to change the way that we look at food. Yeah.
Absolutely. And as you spoke about your wonderful CEO as a change maker, many students are inspired by your program to become change makers. Can you tell me a bit about what makes a change maker so special and how we can become change makers in our own community?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll start with telling you the story that I tell the students when I go into the school to teach Feast, or to assist the teachers with Feast, is about Ronnie, our CEO and founder. So Ronnie started working in events management, and she would see that when she would put on these big extravagant events, the huge amount of food that was going to waste. And so she wanted to do something about that. And so in the first year, she would rescue that food and provide that food to people in need. And so, yeah, I think from that side of things, it was an idea. She started with one van and a plan. And now Oz Harvest, has delivered more than 120 million meals to people in need. It just started with an idea. Ronnie could see that something needed to change. And so she, with an idea, got out there and made that change. So I really think change makers are recognizing how we can make a difference in this world. That is to, make this world better for all of us, and enacting that change and being a leader. And what we see with the Feast program is that the teachers can really identify students that through doing the program have become change makers in their home or in their school by just making, simple changes in the school environment that educate kids about caring for our environment and, not wasting their food or picking up their rubbish or doing these little simple things.
And being a teacher and a change maker yourself, I do believe, but also leading a team and an education program at Oz Harvest, what advice or piece of information do you think it's really critical to share with young Australians, Amelia?
Yeah, so I guess that advice is to find purpose in the reasons why you do things and what you do. And when you find that purpose, then you find joy in your everyday life. So I think there's also that side of things is to, always be inquisitive and to learn about why things are the way they are and those sorts of things. And through that, I think comes back to that inspiration to be a change maker. It's through being inquisitive, being caring, and finding purpose in what you do, you become a change maker because you find joy in helping those around you.
Lots of our young farming champions are quite involved within the agricultural industry and have varying roles. Is there a piece of advice or a message you'd like to share with us in regards to food waste and making sure that we are sharing the right message and a constructive message with consumers?
Sharing the message of the importance of food. So, I think that idea is what I was referring to before, is that, there's so much that goes into the food that we produce. And there is really that gap at the moment in regards to people who really need access to healthy, nutritious food. So I think sharing that message about the importance of the food and everything that goes into producing our food, and really, I think that idea of educating about how food is sustenance for life.
And the amount of love and time and science that goes into it all. It's incredible how, to produce one tomato or any piece of agricultural produce, it's really incredible, I think.
Yeah, and it's really, I think, it's connecting back into that. Yeah, it's connecting to all of the love, time, effort, everything that's gone into it. I think the young agricultures of Australia out there are doing a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for your time, Amelia, and for sharing your wealth of knowledge and a bit about your special work that you do with Oz Harvest and educating young Australians about the importance of food production and combating food waste.
Thanks for having me, Meg. It was great.